Tonight, we're going to continue our episode on clubs and get into a topic that I think all of us will be happy and on the edge of our seat. Yep, we're going to read line by line Robert's Rules of Order tonight. From beginning to end, guys. You know, I hear it's a great bedtime story for kids. Well, no. Well, as you can tell by the banjo playing in the background, we're going to hang out with some cool hillbillies tonight, next on Live Free and Ham. Well, hello and welcome to Live Free and Ham podcast. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, and beyond. We're thrilled to have you here, whether you're a regular listener or tuning in for the first time. And thanks again for joining us and checking out this episode. So as always, let's get into the show. I'm your host, Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I'm with my co-hosts.
Hey, it's Paul, N1OG.
And Todd, W1STJ.
Cool. And we've got some great guests on tonight as well, as we alluded to in the intro there. Say hello, guys. Introduce yourselves, and we can then get into more details in a little bit of show.
Kilo 1 Lima Yankee, Shannon.
Alpha 4, Alpha Tango, Sean.
Amy, Whiskey 4, Mike Alpha Echo.
Doug, Kilo Echo 4, Mike.
All right, cool, guys. Well, thank you again for hanging out with us. Like I said, we are going to be talking to some great people here and talking around clubs tonight. So before we get into that, let's usually get into the stuff we like to catch everybody up on. As always, our storefront is up on livefreeandham.com/shop. Head on over there, check out all our merch. As always, we still have some of the Live Free and Ham whiskey glasses in the store, and they are still there and available for everybody to pick up. So, if you haven't had a chance, I say run over there now, go grab your favorite whiskey glass and help support the show as always. And we thank you for everybody who's already, bought a bunch and have added to their, supply there. And we appreciate everybody doing that. And as always, you can head out and pick our lovely hamlets. For those that might not know, we have a little grassroots project. If you want to head over to getham.com, you can check out our little hamlets, and maybe you might be a Jeeper, or someone who is a Jeeper, and they've got this little thing going around called ducking. And so you might, as a Jeeper, get a bunch of ducks. And we all have seen these like colorful ducks sitting on everybody's dash. And it's kind of a nice, simple, easy way to say, hey, I recognize your cool Jeep. Well, we got one for the ham community. In essence, we want to show, to everybody out there. We drive by every day, and I know about you, but I'll see people with antennas on their cars, or I'll walk by someone in the parking lot and catch an antenna off the corner of my eye, and then I'll look inside to see what equipment they have. Well, I used to leave my QSL card on the windshield, and I thought that was kind of a little tacky. It'd blow away, it'd just disappear, and I'm like, it's got to be something better. So lo and behold, we came up with the hamlets there, man. And so all you have to do is take your little call sign, fill it in a little disc on the bottom, attach it to the bottom of your hamlet, and then you can leave that anywhere. And I guarantee it's a blast, because in essence, I have done this with several people in and around the local area, and every time I drop one on a windshield or on their door lock handle or whatever, they walk up to this thing and they're like, the first look in their face is puzzledness, but at the same time, they see it, they've gone to the website, they said, this is pretty cool, and they've responded back, and so we're just showing a little love in the ham radio community. And it's all getting warmer around here, and what's coming up when it gets warmer, right? We've got Ham Fest. So in essence, these are perfect. You could, easily, big gold mine, lay them on any vehicle that you see within a 10-foot radius, and get people involved. And so head over to getham.com, check that out, and pick yourselves up some of your own. All right. As always, we like to say, hey, you guys, we love feedback, and this week, the barrel, the bucket, the mail bag, all of it is dry. And so, we want you guys to reach out. We want you guys to say hello. If you got a question, you got something that's been just bothering you, whatever it is, you can reach out to us, and we here at the Live Free and Ham community want to help. So in essence, you can always reach out to us via SMS, simple link down in all of our descriptions. You can text us, your woes, your ham radio challenges, or hey, maybe you ran into a cool story. You got a funny, dad joke you want to share with us. Feel free. You can do that via SMS. You can always do it via our voicemail. And that number, Todd, is?
Why do you do this to me?
He is waiting slowly for the ticker.
Put it up. There you go. 978-233-1142.
Yep. Call Todd for a good time, as they say. So in essence, you can leave a nice voicemail with us, and we have someone standing by, at least the voicemail standing by. And we love to, play it on our next episode. We thank the few folks that have in the past left us great messages. And we want to hear from everybody. So don't be afraid. Just go ahead. You might be driving. Stop this podcast. Go ahead, call the number and leave us a quick message. That's all we're looking for. And as always, if you're like one of the, those folks that like to send via email, you can always send it to livefreeandham@gmail.com. And as always, as we've said every episode, and we're going to keep saying, because in essence, we're slowly creeping up on 500 subscribers on our channel. And so with that, we're hoping to do maybe a fun giveaway live stream. But if you haven't become a subscriber yet to Live Free and Ham, head on over to our Live Free and Ham YouTube channel. Make sure you're a subscriber. And as Paul says, make sure you hit that bell. If you don't hit the bell, you don't know when we're going to actually go live. And I can't tell you that we don't know when we're going live. So in essence, it's always important to make sure that, you get notified. That way you can come in and participate and hang out and have fun with us when we actually decide to, get behind the microphone and start broadcasting. So all good there. So those are 3 easy ways to obviously get a hold of us, or, plus the live stream. And so with our last little thing is, hey, maybe you haven't become a Patreon member. Did you know some of our Patreon members get some really cool stuff? If you're a subscriber as a Patreon, you might, not know you have this. You definitely get immediate access to all our shows before they're released to the public. So if you want to be in on the know, then you can get access to that way before everybody else does, usually within a week to 2 weeks before. We have early access to our Patreon subscribers to check out our videos. And now that, one of our members has spoken up and asked for it, we delivered. In essence, if you are a members only subscriber, now you can actually get the audio only uncut version of our podcast. So you can listen to it anywhere when you're on the go. And it's always, something that a few people liked. And then we've gotten some awesome feedback on that. So thank you again. And as always, you get access to all of our early merch, meetups, members only live streams, and a bunch of different discounts. So as Bob Koff says,
you can join for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big
There you go. So you can join with as little as $3 a month. And Bob, every time I play that, I will give you the residual, 2
pennies,
2.5 cents per, run. So just make sure I don't hit the button too many times. Okay. So with that, let's roll on into our first episode here.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Hey everybody, we got some news.
Slow down, Boog. Let me handle this. We've got some news. I've got bad news and bad news.
I have reviewed ship's personnel, Captain.
Congratulations, you've got mail.
He's shaking his head no, sir. Is he? Are you waving off the sign there, or what's the deal?
We don't have any mail. I looked. No mail today or this week.
Once again, a sad Todd again. That's not good. Like, do you understand how badly that impacts Todd? If he can't read mail, he feels like he's not a complete ham radio operator, at least for the show. Like, I don't know what to better say. That you want the show to continue to pay Todd's, therapy bill, because we're eventually going to have to do that because there's not enough listeners sending in, reviews. So please help Todd out. Help us out. Send in a review.
I think the problem is Todd needs to update his AOL CD.
That he does. All right. Well, Todd, how can we let folks know how they can leave us a nice review or send us feedback or anything? What's the easiest way?
Well, you can go to our our email, livefreeandham. What is it? @gmail.com.
Yep, that's one.
You can call us 978-233-1142.
There we go. 2.
You can send Paul a win link, and you can get on the show. That's a good one.
You go. Okay.
You can SMS, text us.
Or nice job. Are we gonna hit bat 1,000 tonight?
Or you can ask on the Discord.
There you go.
Which I am learning how to use. You guys can say I'm getting a little bit better with responses to that.
You are, and I appreciate that. So there you go, guys.
One more thing to monitor.
Yeah, exactly. As if we don't already have enough. Anyway. All right. Well, that is it here. You know, there are many ways now you can send us a review. You can send us feedback. You can just send us hey, I hear you loud and clear 5-9. So, feel free, send it that way. We want to hear from you. What's your excuse? Anyway, all right. Well, if we dive into the next one here.
Doing good. Good. Doing good.
You do. That's good.
Do good? Do good?
You're doing good.
Absolutely, I do. Good.
Doing good, Bob. Doing real good.
Right now, my only outlet is my ham radio.
I don't know if I should just go into the whole thing, because obviously we've got no do-goods tonight either, and I'm kind of bummed. So, guys, come on, let's hear it. We want this. The warm weather's coming. Your clubs, your groups, your hangout friends, your buddies. You must be doing something fun out there. We want to hear about it. Let us know. Send us an email. You can send us an SMS text. You can call us up on our voicemail line, or you could go to livefreeandham.com/do-good and fill in a form, and we will do the rest for you. So, as always, and, I don't know if we should just throw this out, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. If you are the type A, and you want to be part of our members only, type A show that we're going to be coming up soon with, then, send an email over to Paul, N1OG at WinLink. And, if he gets it there, then he'll read it online and you'll be in the honorary club of folks that have sent, a do good via WinLink. And therefore, you get the honor to come hang out with us on a private live stream, and we'll set that all up soon. So keep an eye out for those folks that have already been doing the do goods. And we thank you again, guys, for sending out that stuff. All right. So with that, we're on to our apparently the most popular segment of all of our, entire Live Free and Ham podcast here. And now, a little something extra with Todd, W1STJ. Okay, before I get into the whole details here, we have now more than one VE on the show at this moment. Sean and Shannon are also here, so literally we could almost do a test if we really wanted to. We have
test me live on the podcast. Yeah, that wouldn't be well.
That would not go over well, I'm sure.
At least I'd have the music, right?
True. That is an option because we're there to support you. Sort of like having your favorite number 2 pencil or your stuffed animal, whatever you want to bring. Anyway, yeah. All right. So
it would be kind of cool to have a test session live stream.
We could. Is there anything in the rules that say that you can't?
I'd have to look into it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we have tasked you then. Go find out.
I'll be the first person ever to be live streamed on a test.
You'll be like, first guy on the moon, first guy testing live.
Yeah. And then I fail, and then the whole ham wordy world can laugh at me.
Well, it'll be live forever embedded. So, all right. So, as you know, if you've heard it here, this is where we help Todd study for his extra class license. In each episode, we always pick 3 questions from the extra class question pool, and we're picking from the whole entire pool, guys. This is the cool part. So to test Todd and his knowledge, hoping he gets his upgrade. So if you'd like to follow along, as always, head over to hamstudy.org, which is a great resource to help you prepare for your test, and is always recommended by 3 out of 4 VEs, which we have represented here. So with that, let's hand it over to our VE quiz master. Paul, go ahead. Take it away, sir.
All right. Hey, first time I clicked the right button.
Not bad.
All right, Todd. So we are now using the whole question pool. I am so happy for you. We're getting close to the end. All right. Question number 1 for this evening. Atmospheric ducts capable of propagating microwave signals often form over what geographic feature? Is it A, large bodies of water, B, mountain ranges, C, nimbus clouds, or D, stratocumulus clouds?
All right, Paul. I'm going to go with A, large bodies of water.
Okay. I'll go with B, but do our guests have a choice or an answer?
I'd say A.
Nice.
I'm going between A and B.
Okay.
A.
Nice.
I'll guess A.
All right.
Doug, nothing?
Smart man.
Zach, I plead the fifth. All right. A is the correct answer.
Wow.
Yes. Evaporative ducts form over water where the cooling near the surface from evaporation results in cool air below warm air and a temperature inversion.
Okay. Not bad.
All right. You're 1 for 1 to question number 2. What is the function of decimation? Is it A, converting data to binary coded decimal form? B, removing unnecessary significant digits? C, attenuating the signal? Or D, reducing the effective sample rate by removing samples?
I haven't seen this
Wrong.
one in a
Didn't get
while.
that one on the button. Decimation.
I'm going to go with A. I haven't seen, I can't remember this one. Decimation, decimal.
I'm going to go with B. I definitely feel it's a removing of something.
Amy?
B.
Doug?
I cannot remember that one.
Well, maybe.
There we go.
All right. So,
I'm going with D.
okay.
Ooh, D.
So Todd said A, which is incorrect. All right. Then we had a D.
B. Yeah, B. And D. Ah, yeah, nice job.
Shannon.
D is correct. Reducing the effective sample rate by removing samples. So decimation refers to destruction, to decimate. Rah. Specifically to remove digital samples from a stream of samples in an analog signal. If not done properly, it can lead to aliasing noise. A decimator, which is what a system component that does this process is called, is typically employed to reduce the data capacity requirements when a signal is sampled at relatively high sample rate. In these situations, an analog signal is sampled at a very high rate and then filtered in the digital domain to remove noise or high-frequency components, which can be significantly more efficient than analog filters, and then decimated to a lower effective sample rate to reduce the amount of data required to reliably regenerate the signal.
I don't know about you, but my nuns used to whack me on the wrist when I used the word in the definition, but whatever.
All right, Todd, 50%. Question number 3. Which of the following is used to measure SWR? Is it A, a directional wattmeter? B, an antenna analyzer? C, all of these choices are, or D, vector network analyzer?
What's an easy one?
I hate when they say all these choices are correct. Well, I know it's an antenna analyzer. The other ones, I've never used or have any of those things, so. All right, well, I'm gonna say antenna analyzer, but it might be all of them.
I go with C.
All right, I'll go with Eric then, C.
Oh, he changed mid-run.
Yeah. I know it's antenna analyzer is one of them. The other ones, I think this is all of them. I'll go with C2.
Final answer.
Yeah, that's my final answer.
C is correct.
Oh.
Thanks, buddy.
That I know.
Was this the third one?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
so the SWR, or standing wave ratio, is the voltage ratio of the largest voltage on the transmission line to the smallest voltage, and it depends on how much signal is reflected back from some device, typically your antenna. When no signal is reflected back, you have a traveling wave with the intended signal at full power all the time. When some power is reflected back, the forward and backward waves will interfere with one, sometimes increasing and sometimes decreasing the voltage. The ratio of those two voltage is the variable SWR. So all the named devices can measure SWR. You've got the VNA, can measure many properties of the system, including SWR, the antenna analyzers, more specifically, to measure SWR. And the watt meter goes between your radio and feed line, which measures the power you're putting out. But a bidirectional watt meter will also measure the reflected power. So there you have it.
Nice. And with that, brings my favorite song. Oh, well, so if you're on the journey of studying for your technician general or extra class like Todd, in that case, hamstudy.org is an excellent resource for getting your ticket. You know, as always, we always like to say, hey, if you recently received your license or maybe you just upgraded, you know, we want to know. So you can be recognized on our next episode. And so, you know, for all your hard work and effort. So if you want to send us an email, you can send it over to livefreeandham@gmail.com and we'll mix you on the next show. Paul, you got any that you've picked up on in your travels?
So I got to say, listen, we need a Live Free and Ham Reddit presence. Now Reddit is a cesspool, but however, I did see recently this week, I think there was one new tech and a couple of people that they got their generals and they were super excited about it and very happy about it. And I congratulated them on Reddit, but they didn't post call signs or anything. So I have no way of actually recognizing them.
Bummer. Okay. Well, you know, those on Reddit, come on, those are our posting your call signs, you know, post your call signs so we can, you know, slurp that stuff out of there. And, you know, that way we don't have to create our own cesspool called Live Free and Ham. Oh my gosh. I would not even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole trying to manage that. Oh boy. Okay. Well, with that, so we usually like to get in our usual format here. So we've got a couple of guests. Obviously, we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So we're going to give them the floor first. So we'll start with Shannon there. We always ask everybody every week on their show, how's your ham radio week been?
It's been slow. We went out last weekend, got 155 on Saturday. No, was it on Saturday? No, Saturday was when we got only like 10 or 11. Then we went on Sunday and got 155. So it was pretty good. I'm proud of that one. We did get Indonesia on SSB. I think it was 15 meters, 10 or 15 meters. So that was exciting. I haven't done a lot of hunting this week, which I typically do during the week because when he would come home in the evenings, he's got something going on like on YouTube. So I can't hear anything.
Time for a headset.
Yeah, yeah, that might work if one of us is hollering at the other. So, but yeah, I got. It's been a slow week, but
okay, cool, nice. So no bumping the VFO knob or anything like that at all. Just want to, you know, everything's all.
That was not me. That was not me. I get blamed for it, but that was not me. That was Lewis.
As long as we were clear with that. And so just to give our audience a little bit of understanding, I was actually activating, I think it was last Sunday. I can't remember the date or time frame. And these guys hunted me down and Shannon got out there and she's like, I've got three other people here, operators here. And I'm like, okay, bring them on. And then it just went dead for like 5 minutes. And meanwhile, like everybody, I'm like, Shannon, you're there. Like, come on, come back into the, so because all right, maybe the band conditions just, dived. And then I put my QRZ back out there and all of a sudden I got like 15 more people. I was just like, no, the bands aren't dead. And then, all of a sudden I hear you guys come back. So it was like, okay, cool. All right, good. Let's get the rest of the guys in the log here and move on. So that was a good activation and definitely, bumped me up in my numbers there. So yeah, the 4 of you guys helped out a lot for sure.
We enjoyed it.
Cool. All right. Well, over to you, Amy. How's your Hammer week been?
I've not really done nothing. I've had a lot of stuff going on, family and everything, but I do have a report on a coworker. He within a month he got his extra.
Oh, sweet. Nice. Yeah. Cool. You know how long he was studying for? Is it just something pretty quick for him, or?
He was pretty quick because he's an engineer at work.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
That helps.
I didn't know nothing, and I've done mine in a month.
Awesome, dude. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I
just
I
like
didn't get
dig it in a little harder.
Rubbing salt in the wound.
Rubbing salt in the wound.
Todd's exposing his heart to everybody, and you just come by with a bucket of sand.
It took me a month. What's wrong with you? I didn't know nothing.
That's all right.
I didn't know nothing.
We haven't applied enough pressure on Todd. He's kind of been skating for a little while, and we just got to get the rest of the Live Free and Hand community. And you're hearing it here first. Start sending an email, hitting Todd up in Discord. What's up with your extra, man? Because last time I checked, it was extra before April, but that would only put you 2 days away.
1 day.
Well,
okay.
April 12th. April 12th is the next GSARA session. So
okay, so it's possible.
You better register.
There you go.
I think I had baseball that day.
I bet. All right, cool. Well, with that, over to you, Doug. How's your Hammer week been?
I hadn't really messed with the radio this week.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. No problem there. We all have those weeks, and we've gone dry spells for a little while. Hopefully, you got something on the horizon coming up soon.
Yeah, going to go do some POTA. So.
Sweet. Nice. Do you guys have a favorite park you like to go to, or are you just trying to work a kilo or anything specific at a park you got coming up?
Not really, but we have a park less than 5 miles away.
Ooh, nice. That's a convenience for sure. Always after work, before work, and during work. All good.
Lunch break.
Cool. Yeah, trust me. That is a common thing with me.
I've been known to take my lunch break at a park.
Well, now you're definitely going to have to take your lunch break at a park because I'm 107 contacts.
I know. We're working on it. I was been ahead of him for like a year, and then he decides to just catch up.
You went to California and you got hit with the CME. I stayed here in New England. I had 107 contacts. You see the problem there?
Yeah, I see it.
So
it's very disappointing. I had big expectations and I got nothing.
Yeah, well, you barely activated the park out there, right?
I know. 2.5 hours and 12 contacts.
Well, we'll get into you in a second, but with that, let's head over to Sean. How was your Hammer week, my friend?
For me, it's mostly just been studying CW, trying to learn that.
Oh, nice. How far are you in? You basically able to copy code yet, or are you still working on that?
I'm real early in. I'm only 3 weeks in.
Well, I applaud you, my friend. We've got a kind of scenario up here in our club where a bunch of our guys who are learning CW use like what's that online
V-band
tool called V-band. Thank you. Yeah, and they do that a lot. And I tried it for a little bit, and my ears and brain do not. Yeah, stop rubbing it in. That's the key that would probably put me over the edge. He's running the modern Morse key that he's hiding over there, ever so quietly. But I give you credit, man. Is it something that you do when you? How long have you been a ham? Did you have to get your CW when you were a ham, or no?
No, originally when I wanted to go for my license back in the 80s, it was a requirement. And I picked up the book and cassette tapes from Radio Shack. I opened it up. I saw Morse code, and I said, "I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I don't have time for this." And it was only 3-4 years ago that I got my license, and now it's like, all right, that's this year's goal. By next winter field day, I'd like to work CW. That's
a great goal, man. We'll definitely keep hopefully on top and check in with you because it's funny. Like I've heard more and more people now that the code requirement's gone after the past 10 years. Everybody's just like, I want to go. Like even Paul has gone from like just sideband only to CW now. Like he's just like all of a sudden like I'm enjoying CW, and I was like, dude, what brings this on? And but that's the MO. A lot of people are like, hey, I can learn it at my own pace and not have to feel like I have to study for it to get my next license upgrade.
And it's nice that you can go out there with like a QRP radio and really get out there.
Yeah, well, you're probably good to study now because as cycle 25 starts to go in the toilet, we're gonna have to have you're gonna have to run CW to be able to make a good contact. Because sideband's gonna be tougher than we all have been living high on the high horse these past 5 or 6 years making contacts. It's gonna be a struggle, I think. I learned that the hard way. I brought my FX4CR to the beach in a vertical, and I barely made like 12 contacts, and I'm like, I'm running at 20 watts, man. This is tough. Give me my 100. I'm ready back, please. We have to haul big power to the beach. Very cool, guys. All right, well, with that, let's bring it over to our usuals. How's your hammery week, Paul?
Well,
ooh, that's a loaded question. Oh, he switches views.
How you doing?
You doing?
So, all right. So Friday, I had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Okay.
And
sorry to hear it.
So my solution was to go to my favorite park. And activate. Now, mind you, okay, for whatever reason, Friday we had like super high winds. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what I did was I actually backed my truck up on the water line so that like the passenger side of the truck was almost in the water. And then I put my table and everything on the driver's side of the truck so I could use the truck as a windbreak. And I had the sun in my face for a good, 2.5 hours. I got I think 92, 93 contacts.
Wow.
Which puts me up to 727 contacts for the park.
Nice. This
so I'm
is
getting
the kilo. Got it.
Yeah, I'm getting close to getting that kilo. So yeah, I guess the moral of the story, right, is if you're having a bad day, just go and play radio in a park because that'll make your day better.
Or call the POTA dogs and then go play radio.
Yeah, well, it was a Friday afternoon. I figured you were working, Todd was working, but yeah.
Dude, when have I ever said no to POTA and yes to work? Come on, my friend. I would have been like, let's go. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'll let it go. I'll slide. You made some good contacts.
Fair warning, though. As you both have been out to my favorite park, and it's all dirt. It's all dirt roads. It's all dirt roads to get out there. They are absolutely terrible. Big mud ruts, and they're out there trying to fix the roads up, and so I had a couple roads that were closed, and I had to like try and navigate my way around, and I thought I was going to end up on a snowmobile trail, but it turned back into a road. So
good.
It is an awesome park.
Once you get to it.
Yeah, once you get to it, and the spot that he found, it's like right on the water, nice little pond or lake or whatever you want to call it. But it's quiet. No one's bothering you. And when Watson's there, and if someone dares comes up the park, be aware because Watson doesn't like visitors. Right, remember that time?
Father's Park.
Right, when we went, Watson, like he was in the truck, and like some guy came up on a bike, and Watson went nuts. Like you're not coming up here, buddy.
Yeah, no, he was doing his job. But so Shannon had mentioned hitting Indonesia, which is fantastic. I wish that I could have made contact, but I heard several Japan stations on 15 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And from New Hampshire to Japan, sideband, like that's amazing.
That's long path guaranteed.
Yeah. So so that was really cool. I could hear them clear as day, but they were making contact with other stations. So It would have been rude to be like, "Hey, hold on, Japan station, can you get me real quick?"
I'm QRP. Come on, I'm QRP. I'm really 100 watts because everybody else that's hitting you is on a kilowatt. Which is always the case. Yeah, Japan was quite loud on FT8. I was very surprised most midday, and I was like, "What the heck is going on with 15?" But yeah, cool on that. Nice, awesome. You all good? Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, cool.
That's enough.
All right. And I'm just going to put a little bug in your ear. I know you're going to a certain Marconi next Sunday, so put my name in the hat. We're going to have to circle back around with that one. I got to take you to the best seafood stuff down there, but at the same time, we all have to, I'm going to head down with you. We'll go. But
you're welcome. You're welcome to come.
Cool. I will be there. All right. Well, with that, over to you, Mr. Todd. How was your Hammerdy week, sir?
Well, if you count my California trip, it started off pretty sucky. I was really hoping to get Hawaii and Alaska being on the West Coast, and the bands were crap. And I did activate a park. Took me 2.5 hours to get 12 contacts. Barely made it, but was glad to get it. And I put it into the POTA app, and it all cleared. So I got another park, but it was a struggle. Besides that, today I've been working on my shack, so I leave my radio on, and this weekend was the DX
CQ Worldwide.
Yeah,
was it? Yeah, CQ Worldwide.
And dude, it was like 20 meters was absolutely filled from, like, there was no space. Like, the waterfall was just blasting me. So I just kind of went around and tried to find some. So today I worked Madeira Island twice.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I think I got them on like 10 meters. Italy, I did all 10 meters today. France, Cyprus, Estonia, and 2 USA. I was in, where were they? One was Kansas, and I don't know where the other one was. So, Midwest. But yeah, so I was just nonchalantly I was doing other things, and I'd scroll over and I'd get them, I'd get their call sign, and I'd wait, and they'd call CQ, and within 1 or 2 shots I was in there. But I looked up these guys' stations, and they're like huge. I mean, they've got like 15 enormous antenna towers all on a field with, going in every which direction. But it's always fun when they go out there, because you can get a lot of cool different areas. So
nice. Hey, all for it, man.
Yeah.
Hunting's always good, especially, you'll probably never get any confirmations from any of those, big stations.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like a loser. Like, you had to tell him like what number you are, and I'm like 8.
4.
The guy's like, "Can I get your thing?" He's like 8. He's like 3,423. I'm like 8.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to participate in it because apparently my Flex decided to lose its connection to the internet somewhere along the line, so I couldn't remote into it. But yeah, it was a bummer.
So it was fun. So Eric,
Nice.
What'd you do this week at Ham Radio?
Oh, this week in Ham Radio. Well, I last week I ended up, like I mentioned earlier, we did a Sunday POTA. My wife had decided to go out and do some shopping, and it was a great day. And I was like, I'm not going shopping. We're going to take the radio out, and we're going to go work some stations. And so I figured, I'd spin the dial and figure out what places I could activate around me. But then I was like, I haven't done the rail trail in a while, and I know Todd's like got 8 contacts ahead of me. Let's put a kibosh on that pretty quickly. So I rolled down there, set up my Wolf River coil on a center loaded version. And I have to thank Paul for giving me all of those cool neon spikes, twisted spikes, because the wind was just enough that on a center loaded, Wolf River coil SB1000, if you get the coil up above, it just becomes this like big giant like leaf on the wind, and it just whips, and like literally it was off to my left, and I think it was before I started responding to Shannon's call. I looked over, and all of a sudden something whacked me on the top of the head, and I went, what the heck is that? Looked up, didn't see anything. It was my antenna. It literally had bent over so far, the tip of the whip hit me in the top of the head, and I went, oh my antenna went from vertical to horizontal, and it was like literally just like kind of dangling, because the spike was holding the center of the base so firmly in the ground that it was like literally just like, it had no other way except to bend. So yeah, I was like, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, thank you for those spikes, Paul. I appreciate them. So they worked out wonderful. And 107 contacts on that activation. And then I don't think I did anything this week. Most of this week was just kind of running around doing some other stuff. I didn't get a chance. Again, work is getting in the freaking way of everything I'm doing. I didn't get a chance to get on a live stream for Northeast Ham Radio, so I was bummed about that. That was a fun, even though it was fun to be in the chat. And I did catch, Paul's Weekend Warriors too, a little bit here and there. So all good stuff. I mean, dude, you've been like live streaming literally from Friday to today. I mean, like you haven't stopped yet, have you? So
he lives on live stream.
Yeah, close.
But the funny thing is I would rather live stream than make videos.
I noticed.
Like I have a lot more fun live streaming. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. And it's funny. On Friday, Friday, part of the reason why I was like running around was I had my 50th. Let me short this story. I haven't finished putting the video up, but it'll be out in a couple of years. I had to get a tattoo. Like I let my kids rite of passage. You know, they turned 18, they go out and got their tattoos. And so when I told the kids, I'm like, yeah, I'm 50. I want to go get my tattoo. And my daughter's like, oh, I'll pay for it. And I'm like, well, if my daughter's going to pay for a tattoo, heck yeah, we're going to go do it.
I'm getting a whole sleeve.
No, I'm thinking that now. Like I'm a virgin tattoo. So like my first tattoo, I don't know if you can see it here. So this is it, and it's, you can't see the back of it, but you can catch the video on it. And so unbeknownst to my wife, I was like, okay, I've got a little, I've got the ground symbol, the arrow ground symbol on the back here that you can't see. And right below it, I convinced myself I needed to tattoo myself with my call sign. So it's forever there. I can't change it now. So I am locked in as N1JUR forever. And it's on the back of and the one thing my wife says to me, why didn't you get my name tattooed on it? I'm like, the wedding ring's good enough, isn't it? Come on, really? Like, you know what that means? That's like instant divorce. Like, what'd you get your wife's name tattooed on you?
Well, so what you should do, Eric, right, is take your wedding ring off, and on the inside of your finger, just put her name right there.
Okay. I don't know if I want to tattoo that part of my body quite yet. I still want to get the sleeve in though. So, well, we're just hooked on this though. And I got a great tattoo artist. He's a good friend of the family. So, he's not helping the process there about, saying, hey, you only really need one. He's like, oh, let's think about the next one. So yeah.
They're addictive. It's just like getting your first radio, right? Once you get your first one, you got to get another and another and another, right? Yep. Tattoos are the same way.
We all
you'll end up being a coloring book just like me.
Oh boy, yeah, black and gray, right? Ah, cool.
I got some color.
Oh yeah, you do have color. I didn't know you did. So okay, cool. So yeah, that was my Friday trip, and I was doing because I haven't done in a while a channel update because I have a lot of people going, hey, are you still doing videos? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still doing videos. I got a bunch in the queue. I haven't just edited, and so I did a channel update, and of course my last part of the video was me ending while they're actually tattooing the back of my arm, which is the most in this area in general. It's the most painful part, and of course he was just doing all the shading at that point. So I'm like trying to talk through it, and I'm like gritting my teeth, so you have to catch that part of the video. So it's just thought a little comedy, well worth it. So all good. Yeah, hey, dude, come on! I told you, virgin tattoo. All right,
wait till you do like your collarbone or your elbow or your spine.
I'll have to show you my son's tattoo. My son got a chest tattoo of a buffalo, and they had to actually blacken his nipple. And I have the video of him rinsing his nipple getting tattooed in black. And it was like, well, his sister was like, dude, this is awesome. I want this video forever. So yeah, cool. All right, well, enough of the tattoos because we are a ham radio show sort of, so let's step back into ham radio here. Let's kind of get into things here. So guys, I want to apologize up front first, because at the very beginning of the show we maybe you got excited when I said we were going to talk about Robert's Rules of Order. No excitement at all. Okay, good.
Listen,
I'm in the right crowd.
I was a parliamentarian, so if you want to discuss Robert's rules, we can absolutely do that.
So let me put this caveat here. If you want us to talk about it and you are a subscriber to our Discord, then head over to our channel. That's listener submitted show topics, and say you want us to talk about Robert's Rule of Order, and maybe we will vote it in as an topic that we want to talk about. So I can only imagine what that's going to bring. I'm sure everyone's going to be like, yes, let's talk about Robert's Rules of Order. This would be awesome. They watch our our show plummet down to like 2 subscribers. So anyway, we're not going to be talking about Robert's Rules tonight. However, we want to continue our conversation like we talked about last episode. And if you haven't had a chance to catch that, head over and check out our last week's episode was Your Website Sucks. And we were talking about and dropping names. And again, our whole purpose behind that show wasn't to just basically tear clubs down. It was like just to make you guys aware that your website is important. It's a vehicle to tell your story about what's actually going on in your club. Maybe you have a very busy club, but gosh, if I went to some of those websites, I'd be like, ham radio's dead, my friend. The fact that they coded in HTML, and they're updating it, manually, that alone just, kind of just was like, rubbed me the wrong way. So
bad websites are killing ham radio.
Exactly. Here we go. New t-shirt. So with that, we figured, okay, our next episode, we got to talk about clubs, because we know that the fabric and the connective tissue of clubs are the people inside the club that make it the best. And they're usually the folks that are most passionate about stuff. They like going out and playing ham radio, and they like doing radio because it's a ham radio hobby. Why not do it in a club that's a ham radio club? That's simple logic. So we figured, heck, we know a couple people, and they have a freaking awesome club. I don't know about you. And if you haven't noticed, and you're on the podcast only, all of us, we are, what would you say, passionate followers. We decided that we should all run out and buy our own professional overall, so we could be part of, or maybe indoctrinated into the Hillbilly Club tonight. Maybe that's a possibility. Here we go. Those that might not be on the podcast, you can always check over. We'll have this photo on our website of their club. Their official uniform, and this is the only club that I know officially that has a uniform, is overalls. And I was like, dude. And nevertheless, does it cost extra, Sean, to not have shirts, or is that just a second? Is that just optional?
No, I was like, I got to live up to the stereotype.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm totally. No. Maybe it's like a step up. Like as an executive, you have to be in that. That's your official uniform.
It was cold that day too. I'm trying not to show it.
Okay. All right. So I was going to go shirtless tonight, and then I was like, it's too damn cold. I'm wearing a sweatshirt and a long sleeve under it.
I had to dress up. I got my someday shirt on.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So we appreciate it. We do have, this is sort of a family show, light on the family side, but either way, all cool. So good deal. All right. Well, sorry, you cut out there a little bit, Shannon.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say it was literally freezing the day that we took the photo. It was our first group activation, and it was freezing. And we waited till the end of the day to take the picture, and all that we could do to stand there long enough for the camera to go off.
All chitter as your teeth chattering. Now, when you mean cold, like up here in the Northeast, cold for us is like -12. Like we're talking about like 65.
No, it was in the 30s that day. It was December 23rd. And so our cold is, but we were off the lake there. So the wind was blowing on top of it. The wind chill had it a little bit lower, but if it hits below 40 here, I'm freezing.
Yeah, well, my son, when it hits 30, he's wearing shorts and a sweatshirt to school.
That's a New England. Yeah.
anything above freezing, it's shorts time.
Mm-hmm.
We were out there activating, and it was like somebody says, "Oh, is it cold there?" "Oh, yeah, it's cold." Meanwhile, it's in the 40s, and she's like, "Oh, it's like 40 something here." And the guy's like, "It's -30. I'm in Alaska."
Oh man, that's awesome.
Her face just dropped.
Yeah, that's chilly, man. That is definitely like wear a second, hat on top of the hat you're already wearing. So Cool. So let me kind of frame this out a little bit. So as I was saying, we wanted to bring on, I think what we got us here at Live Free and Ham think is a really cool example of how to do a club. Now, there are many ways to do clubs, and all of them have their own pluses and minuses. But we feel like these guys have done a really good job of just exemplifying the spirit of ham radio, having fun, like the 3-letter word that we all struggle to, keep doing, and, just make it light and fun and casual. And so we asked Shannon, we asked Sean and Amy and Doug to come on, and they graciously accepted. And so we're glad to have you guys on tonight. Thank you guys again for coming and working, out the time that worked for everybody here. But so let me kind of, get into a little bit of discussion here. So just to kind of shape it out right now. So and I got to go back on this one with you, Shannon, is so you guys have 5 people currently in the club, and that's you, Shannon, as I quote Jabberjaws. I got to circle back on why you're Jabberjaws, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then we got Sean A4AT, and then Luis is not here tonight. He is your token, what would you say? DEI club member. Okay. And then we've got Amy, W4MAE, and Roy, right? Or no,
I go by
Roy.
Doug.
Doug. Okay. So that's why I was confused. Roy, whatever.
Where's Roy?
All good. We're all good. Okay. So that's like my other brother, what's that? The movie
Daryl.
Show.
Daryl.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Daryl. That's my other brother, Daryl.
K4MM. So, all right. So I guess Shannon and Sean, do you guys kind of want to give us a little bit, first tell us kind of how you got into the hobby, share a little bit of your story there for all you guys. And then, I want to talk a little bit more your club and, kind of what led you to, doing this club. Again, this club is a freaking awesome. I love their stickers. I love their, logo and everything. We'll pop that into the show notes there so you guys check it out. But so we'll leave it to you guys. So kind of give us your little ham race story a little bit, and then we'll kind of dive a little bit into the, how the club kind of formed and, why you guys wanted to do it.
Well, like I said, I wanted to get into it in the 80s, and the Morse code kept me away from it. And then years later, there was a guy in the area that was just doing a presentation on ham radio. And Shannon is very preparedness minded anyhow. She's like, want to go down and check that out? Yeah, I'll go down. And then she walked out of there going, I didn't need to know you needed to know so much. And I'm like, I didn't know they dropped Morse code. I'm going to do this. And then, so I got my technicians, and then about a year later, a guy from a local club said he was doing risk-free testing, and where if you didn't pass, he wasn't going to make you pay.
Wow.
And he told Shannon you had to take it, and it was 2 weeks away. So
I basically said, I'll study, but I'm sure I'm not going to make it because I don't know all this technical stuff. I took the hamstudy.org, started on it, and just started writing down every question and going. And I'm like, okay, I've got it memorized now, all those questions. So I think I can go in and take the test. I went and took the test. And then they're like, well, you can't stop there. And I'm like, sure I can. They're like, no. So I come back and I studied for 2 more weeks, got my general. And then they're like, well, you got general, you'll do extra. And I'm like, no, I'm not, not going to do it. Yeah, you got to do it. So everybody was pushing me, and I went back 3 weeks later and got the extra. But we never, we had the handhelds, and we never really got onto the radio until a year ago for HF. Here at the house, we had the base station, but to get out in the field was exactly a year ago for the International Women's Day. First time we ever activated. So
awesome.
It was like, I call it ham crack. I got into that, and I can't stop, So I'm the one that pushes everybody to get out and go. And awesome. Basically, we started there. We started out with a local club, got a little too business-like for us. And we decided that, hey, we want to enjoy the hobby and not be so strapped down to the business side of everything. So 5 of us, like Amy works with Sean. So, we're constantly going back and forth. And we just decided, that we were going to start our own club. Researched what we needed to get a club, and Lewis is our president. Sean's the vice president, and of course, I'm the secretary, jack of all trades, and doing those things. Mm-hmm. And I said, we can do this. We just got to, cross the T's and dots the I's, and we did it. Got it together in less than a month's time, and applied for our call. So
awesome. Now you did allude to Sean working with Amy. Now, Amy, how forceful was Sean in making you become a technician, or was it like, hey, what's this thing you do called ham radio? How did that kind of play out?
Well, it's actually two people. The guy that was telling about the testing was actually a coworker with us at the time.
Okay.
And Sean and I worked together, 12, 13 years now?
Yep.
Yeah. And he come is talking about doing the ham radio and all that. And then the engineer comes too. Well, they were saying, that's a week away from testing free. And then Shannon, like she said before, this was earlier, that she messaged me and challenged me pretty much. And so from there, it went, I got my tech in a week, my general in 2 weeks, extra in a week.
Holy
wow.
Month. See, that's the problem is I'm using the wrong words with Todd. I should be using words like challenge you instead of stop sitting on your hands and get moving. Wow. Okay, cool. Wow. That's impressive.
Eric, before you got on here, Sean said, he says, I only listen to the show until we get done with your extra. I just turn it off. Didn't you say that, Sean?
No, I think of more code.
Yeah, that's okay. We're
the show would be here, nothing when I get my extra. It will just the ratings and everything will just drop off and it'll be over.
We'll just randomly test you on the spot kind of thing, just to see how you hold up. Okay, cool. So you pretty much flew through your whole license testing session there, Amy.
Amy's giving me a lot of inspiration because she told me that she knew nothing like me. Like I knew nothing. Right. So now I'm pretty motivated. So I'm going to work on this.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. It is recorded, so now it's physically in transcribed. So we have no reason why Todd can be like, I can't back out of this. So all good there. Okay. So Amy, you obviously flew through all of your testing, license upgrades. Doug, how did you get into this? Were you just like, do I have to keep my wife out of this weird cult kind of thing, or was it something interesting?
No, I had actually used traveling driving truck cross country.
Oh, no way. Cool. Okay. Nice.
And it just kind of bleeds over into the ham radio because the SWR and everything is about the same type of stuff.
Nice. Okay. And so you just, once she got her ticket, it was just like, okay, what do we do with this thing? Or you guys just like, hey, POTA seems a good fit, and you just kind of went that route, and what led you more to go down the rabbit hole, as they say?
Well, we had a friend take us out and for first activation, and that was the beginning.
Our Elmer.
That's what we call them, right? Yeah, Elmers. That's a nice way of saying, hey, jerk, thanks for helping me spend my money. Cool. All right. Well, good base there. Any of you guys want to throw in a few questions here and there while we keep going?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Todd.
No, you can go.
All right.
Don't fight over it. Come on. We're all going along here.
So I looked you guys up on QRZ as the club, right? November Charlie 4 Hotel, right? Hillbilly Hams Amateur Radio Club. And that's how I got Lewis's call sign, Kilo Uniform 4 Golf Zebra. And so that's great, but it pushed me to Facebook. And now I don't use Facebook. All right. The Book of Faces is not a thing for me, but
not in his vocabulary.
But hold on. So number one, please note that becoming a member of this Facebook group is merely for content and information sharing in reference to the club's participation and activities involving amateur radio. Club membership is not currently open to accepting new members. However, we'll be evaluated and updated in the future. Thank you.
Now, beekeeping already. Wow.
I want to be a member. I've got overalls. And I want to be a member.
We're all set up here, my friends. We're all ready. What do we have to do? What hoops of fire do with Paul and I and Todd all have to jump through?
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll have a vote and make you honorary members. I'm not
wonderful.
We basically started out with the 5 of us as the founding members, and of course, going back, we don't want just anybody in particular joining that, it's just going to sit there and think we're just doing nets every week. And we want people that are active out into the communities or their respective areas, actively participating in ham radio and not just digital mode or, one set thing. It needs to be somebody that's really wanting to be active with us. So
that.
And having fun is the big thing for us, getting out and enjoying it and having fun, which we really do. I mean, if you've Eric, you saw how we were with the little incident with the knob getting knocked over.
VFO incident. Yeah. So 25.
Yeah. So just like our first activation, there were 5 of us. I was calling the CQ, but I was also doing my call sign, our club call sign. There were 5 other operators to go through, and we were having a blast because at the end we'd all scream like "Happy Merry Christmas" or Happy New Year.
Happy
the type of thing that we got back feedback was people were getting tickled. They enjoyed it. They appreciated somebody going outside of just the typical hurry up, rush, get your contact and go on.
Yeah, you guys got to have like a special tagline at the end, like "Hillbilly out" or something like that.
You guys do a twofer and one contact. We activated the park. That's pretty awesome.
Well, we can do a lot too. And you just gave me 3/4 of my activation of what I needed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We were up at a twofer, and one guy was like, "You just made my whole activation."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's one of the things that we had discussed when we started the group was that, this club is going to be about fun first and foremost and enjoying it. And we all like to cut up and razz and pick on each other all the time. And we like to bring that forward into the club out on the radio as well. So, if Amy get on there and starts going, "Howdy," like me and Pearl.
Dude, I was so mad because when I was actually activating my camera, the main camera that I had on, I was just kind of going through stuff and I shut it off. I said to myself, I'm going to shut it off. And then lo and behold, you chime in across. I'm like, after the whole entire thing, I was like, damn it, I could have had them on the full video. I was like, oh. So now I have sworn that I'm going to keep cameras running all the time now. So we will share the log.
And I kind of look at it like, yeah, ham radio is great for a preparedness-minded thing, but at the same time, it's kind of like firearms, where if you don't practice it, you lose it. Mm-hmm. So, in order to keep the best way to keep practicing is to make it fun.
Now, Shannon did allude to the fact that she does the logging. Is she doing the logging for all you guys?
I do paper logging. When I call, I do the paper logging, and I'll write as many call signs as I can get and go down through the list. And he will be on the Polo app, and then he sends it to me, and then I, do whatever changes we need to do. But Amy and Doug, they'll do their own logging while they're there, and Lewis does his own logging.
Okay.
So.
Now, you guys said, obviously, when you activate all together, please tell me you're have a better way than actually handing each other the mic through all 4 people.
If you with us the first time, we've sat in Doug's Suburban, and there were 3 of us on the middle back row, and I had the mic, and I would be like this. We were passing it off and around and passing it off and around.
So my next question then is, what radio are you using?
We were using the 891.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to put in the mail tomorrow my splitter and a separate mic. So you guys can have 2 mics and one for the back and one for the front. And then that way, you can just have more fun because they're both active.
By the time it gets back to me, the cord is all twisted and I'm sitting here going, I'm sitting here going like this.
You're choking somebody by the time you get to the fourth contact. Yeah. Dude, you guys got to record this stuff then. That's liquid gold. I mean, that's awesome.
You know how hard it is to hold a camera and a mic.
Just put it on a dash.
Put it on the dash.
Put it on the dash. You'll be good. We'll watch it live. We'll be happy.
Suction cup into the windshield.
Yep.
You got it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We're just get a bunch of GoPros and stick them on your heads.
Don't give them any ideas because I'll be the one that ends up having to wear it. Never fail.
Well, yeah, that and you don't want to be the one with the microphone on all the time, even after the camera stops rolling.
Yeah.
Because it'll capture everything.
Plus, it's kind of fun because she's rushing, trying to get all these comments, and we'll kind of get her cutting up in the middle of it, and she's losing her train.
Yeah, because when people started laughing, I won't shut up. It's one of those things.
So then that means we can dovetail right into Jabberjaws. So like that must be just your chatty Cathy kind of thing.
I have been known as Jabberjaw since I was a child. I didn't know a stranger kind of thing, but when I got into the radio, everybody keeps throwing the mic off to me to start the thing. Yeah, she's good at it. That's what I hear.
Very cool.
It sounds like fun. Like I'm thinking about coming down just to do an activation with you.
You should.
It would be a blast.
You got to get a couple more.
The next time I'm in North Carolina, you might be getting a call saying, "Hey, I'm on my way. Pick a park. I'll meet you there."
We'll pick one.
Totally.
We got lots of our own.
So kind of describe like an average, like, so your club, I mean, obviously you're kind of loosely fitted in terms of what you got. I mean, obviously the only thing you really did was just establish a board kind of because you're required to for your call sign and the trustee kind of stuff. But yeah, you guys seem pretty loosely fitted. Do you guys like try to do how many, like you guys have a goal to kind of do X number of POTAs together as a group over the next, years? Like kind of what some of that look like for you guys?
I don't think we've set group goals yet. I mean, we've only been set up as a group. We got our license in November. We did our first activation in December. So it's only been a couple months. We don't have our typical, monthly meetings that clubs do. We get together and go eat somewhere, and then I'll try to take notes, and I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, back up. What did we just discuss?
Shannon,
to keep our,
I don't know about that. Sometimes we go out and eat, or twice sometimes. It just depends on the month.
Yeah.
Getting expensive. So here's a little tidbit as a club that you don't have to worry about. Dump the notes. You don't need it. You just need to have one set of notes at the very beginning, and then that's like it. And the next 10 years when you have to renew your call sign for the club, that's when the notes have to be updated. So you don't have to meet at all.
Exactly.
Toad just doesn't even do it either. I mean, they're, they're perfect.
Well, that was one of the things that we discussed. We don't want to be tied down to, you got to have all these monthly meetings and club fees,
Vote.
Why are we paying for club fees if they're not going to anything? If we want to buy something for the club that we want to use, we kind of pool our stuff together and do it. But
nice. Right.
And
Very
usually if we have like the brunch type meeting, usually it's the type of thing, all right, we're getting together for field day. What are we going to do? And do our planning.
Yeah.
On the fly. And you guys are small enough that you can make those adjustments pretty quickly versus trying to steer a large ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually did our first, we did winter field day this year. So there was 3 stations and we did it indoors, and we actually did pretty good. But considering the I think we were first or second on winter field day for the state and for the category. Of course, there were only 3 other North Carolina stations, in that category. But I mean, for the number of hours that we actually were able to put in, we didn't do the 24-hour thing. I think we did pretty well. So we enjoyed it.
You ain't first, you're last.
You're racing.
And it was about having a good time and getting out there and learning new stuff.
So do you guys like to do anything else besides POTA? I mean, obviously you mentioned winter field day. I assume you're probably going to do something for summer field day. You guys like getting involved in any contesting stuff, or is that just something that you're just not interested in?
I just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
We could look into some of it. I mean, I'd like to try a soda some point this year.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I know there's a local couple that does a lot, and maybe hook up with them and go out with them for the first time.
Very cool. Yeah, soders are fun. I mean, you guys got the hills for that area for sure. You're not like Arizona with like the mountains are small little bumps,
Yeah.
which is always a good thing. Yeah. Paul and I have been working and talking, but we'll make it, definitively this year. We got to do our 4,000 footers. So we got to hike those and make our soda
At least
points.
10.
So yeah, that 5 for me at least, but yes, 10 would be an awesome goal, my friend. I know you're a little bit ahead of me, but yeah, definitely. There's only 48 of them. So, hey, sure. Let's spread it out. Show the love.
Well, and something else we were looking at is doing events. We have a lot of festivals and stuff that go on around here. And in the previous club, we were doing a lot of stuff with like the Hump 22, which is regarding the veteran suicide events. And, we do traffic control, or not traffic control, but help with the runners and stuff going back and forth and keeping up, taking people that stop halfway through or whatever into the walk. Veterans events that we do. We haven't decided if we're going to participate in those, since the other club in the county also does that. But we also have like the fairs and stuff, because we do want to promote ham radio, and get folks out, let them know what it's about. It's not just service related, and it's not just a weekly net. It's something you can get out and participate in, have fun. You can provide services or support, also Skywarn. Sean and I both are Skywarn. So those different things, of course, I like doing FTA, FT4, and we'll be doing CW.
And maybe put some flyers out of some other clubs around the area that might do testing, and list like hamstudy.org where they can study in case they want to get into it, and kind of show the fun side. And I think one of the events this year, I think Trail of Tears runs through it. So if we get set up there, they may be able to see the madness of the pile-ups and stuff.
Very cool. Now, do you guys have 4-H down in that area? Do you do any of the 4-H? We participate in that a lot with our club, and find that it's like super fun to be able to just piggyback with ham radio. We have a guy, Tim, in our club we've had on the show in the past. He's a big CW guy, but he's similar to kind of you, Sean, where he's just like, he picked it up and wanted to do it, and he's been really good at doing it. And he sets up a small little table and teaches the kids how to do their name in Morse code. And the kids eat it up like it's crazy. Like they got their badge and it just says like the dot dash on it. And they're like, everyone's like, oh, I can read your letter. And they all go off, kind of just, having a blast. So yeah, it's things like that are really cool to do. And it sounds like you guys don't like get tucked up in red tape that a lot of bigger clubs do, or like have to vote on, and you just kind of go out and do it. So if it tickles your fancy, you just kind of go have fun with it. So it's,
they don't have to deal with the drama. We deal with.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to change. I like my life the way it is.
Well, we kind of are gonna have a Live Free and Ham Club if Eric could get our call sign.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
He used his he had a different call sign for like a week because he used his FRN number to do our Live Free and Ham call sign.
They can sympathize with me. They filled in the forms. They know how much of a constant, if you don't pay attention to what field you're putting it in, you put it in the wrong field and you screw yourself.
Right. So now he's got it tattooed on his arm. So he's going to say, hey, they can't take it. It's branded on me.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a challenge, because when somebody's calling and you're trying to fill in the paperwork and you're like, no, go to the next line,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't gone that far yet. I have to go back and refill that in.
My alarm goes off at 3 a.m. So some of the clubs just run so late, it's like I gotta leave before the presentation.
Right. Yeah. Now do you guys like Amy and Doug, do you guys belong to another club, or this is just the club that you guys are with?
Yeah, this is just it now.
Did you used to belong to another club?
Yeah, we all belong to the same club.
Oh, now you just do this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you guys have a good relationship with that other club?
We still have a talking relationship with them, yeah.
Have you found any members go, can I join your club?
Well, when we left, a lot of people were like, we didn't know you were doing this. And I was like, well, that's kind of the point. We were doing this as our group, not to, make waves or anything, but we're going a different direction than they were. And we just felt like, it goes back to how we've got our rules set now. If you're not going to be an active radio person doing things, we kind of wanted to be able to just say, hey, look, we're not accepting yet for applications. Let us get out of the new setup ourselves. But I still talked to the previous president of the club, and we ran into a couple of the members over the weekend while we were getting food, and discussing field day and stuff. So it's still okay. It's just they were a little upset. They said that some of their best operators were, taking off and leaving them. And it's like, no, we're just doing our own thing, You're
not alone. So like our experience is the same up here in New England. We very much like you come into a club and you're like, very much like you guys, you're super excited. You want to play ham radio. Like, that's why I joined a radio club, to play radio. Come on. I don't want to be having coffee every Wednesday morning in my Danish and then go to a barn on a Saturday and just talk about the good old days or wait to field day to play. I mean, you want to get out there and you want to play radio. And so I totally get where you guys are at. And, I know from... I'm the bull in the china closet in our club. I can't tell everyone looks at me like, why is Eric doing another thing in this club? Because they want to I want to go play POTA. I want to go do a POTA meetup. I want to do Winterfield Day. I'm just dragging people in and we're all having fun. Unbeknownst to those naysayers or the people that are like, oh, well, we shouldn't do that. We're not a club. So I applaud you guys. And it's even better to hear that you guys still have a good relationship with that other club. And hopefully they can learn something from you guys and see that, hey, you just don't have to be the board or the business side of the club. You should be doing what the hobby really means, is ham radio.
Yeah, like our club is I would say our club is kind of, I don't know what the percentage is, but there's like the active members and then there's the active members who are actually actively wanting to do ham radio, doing POTA, trying new things, getting involved with field day. I mean, on the repeater, like we have a club repeater and it's like, there's a bunch of people that use it all the time. And then there's, half the club that doesn't even probably know what the repeater is even up and running, which is fine. And I'm not against like having people in there, but like Eric and Paul and I and some of the other guys, we feel like you join a ham radio club, it's your hobby, you want to do ham radio. So, I think it's awesome what you guys have done. And, it's kind of like, it makes me kind of jealous. Like, oh, that sounds like a great group to be in. That's why I said, I'm not lying. I'm going to come down to North Carolina and you might get a strange call and say, hey, I'm about 45 minutes away. Can you guys meet me for an activation? Let's go.
Anytime.
Because that's where the fun's at, when we all get together and we play. And our club has done, what do they call them? POTA.
Yeah, POTA meetups.
POTA meetups, and we'll advertise it just like on the through our email group, but we'll do it on the repeater and stuff. And we pick a park and a day and set up some stations and invite people who've never done it, invite people that want to do it, and even get a lot of people who don't even know what ham radio is and they're like, oh, what are you guys doing? And try to get more people involved. So I think it's really awesome, that you guys got to, the five of you have the same passion and just said, we're doing a club. Let's get this going. So it's awesome.
I think it helps too that we all kind of like hanging out anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely important to have people you like working ham radio with you. I'd hate to have somebody like this a jerk next to me.
and there's no there's no politics or drama. Like, you're like, oh, what are you going to do for ham radio? Let's go get something to eat and talk about it.
And to me, the POTA thing is kind of nice because I enjoy ham radio and learning it and everything else, but I'm not a rag chewer by any means. I'm not a big conversationalist.
So you're not like your wife there, Shannon, there, right?
Exactly.
Total opposite. He always tells me I'm the social butterfly and I go anywhere I don't know a stranger and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about at all.
I'm the same
Shannon,
way, Shannon.
if we ever work each other in the air, it might be a disaster because we might be talking on the radio for a long time.
Especially when Todd is activating and it's like he's making last call. You've got him for the next 45 minutes to an hour, no problem, because he's not going to put it down.
Eric likes to like shut it down, and I'm like, I still hear people. They want to work us, you know. He's
Wait a
like,
minute,
we gotta
don't
go.
just lump me in it. Look to this guy over here. You know, he's the same way. He's like, radio off. Sorry.
Yeah, Paul's like, he shuts it down.
That happened this past weekend. I kept saying, well, I'm going to take last call. And then I'd have 5 or 6 and I'd be writing them down. And Sean's like, we got to go. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know. So, and then some guy actually come on there and said, are you ever going to leave this frequency? And I'm like,
wow, that takes some balls.
Yeah.
Now, Doug and Amy, do you guys ever go out and do like a POTA just together, like you kill some time or whatever?
It's been a while.
Yeah, but you have done it, right? Now, I'm just going to guess who's calling out first, Amy, right?
Actually, you and out. That was me, actually.
We have both done it.
Yeah. Well, the reason I say this is like Eric cheats. No, and what he does is he has his daughter and
I don't hear anything, Todd. What are you talking about? You can talk all you want.
He gets her and they're like, hey, where's the YL? He goes, oh, that was my daughter. That's just a recording. So he snags all these people who are just looking for the women to respond to.
It's my break glass when the bands suck. Sorry. My daughter recorded it. I got her permission. I can use it anytime I want. Yeah. Well, how about your family members become hams there, Todd? My daughter did.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I have my 12-year-old, you know, he's kind of interested. He reminds me every night when the net is, that's for sure. But, and he knows I do the podcast. So I don't know, maybe when he gets older, but he's more focused in his friends and baseball right now. So ham radio's on the side, but he'll get there maybe.
Had Lewis actually at the last activation, the one where we got Eric, he had me to record myself on his radio, his new radio, so that he could hit it and go back and forth. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I'm not there.
Well, I took my son Zach to an activation with Paul, and we went to his favorite spot. And you know, with the pond there, he just went fishing, so he was happy. He was fishing. Paul and I were working the radio, and so I will take him, especially if I've taken him before. I said, hey, you want to go fishing? I'm going to go activate because I found a lake with a park, and he's all for it. He loves to fish, so he's like, yeah, let's go. So
Paul, you got anything?
What?
Go ahead, Todd. I was gonna say, you got any questions? Go ahead and jump in. But yeah,
yeah, I'm enjoying the show.
I know you are. That's the point. It's like, I know you've been like live streaming all weekend, so this is like, oh, cool. My voice can calm down a little bit. I can sit back and watch the fun.
Listen, I'm just being like Doug, and I'm just taking it all in and enjoying it.
All right. Well, I've got a couple of questions. Todd, you got a few more. I didn't want to cut you off there. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we had the POTA Power and Ham Radio do a couples on, and I always ask the questions for you guys because obviously you guys are couples and you're both licensed and whatnot. Who from Shannon and Sean, who is the radio hoarder? Who likes to have the new gear? Who likes to tinker with the stuff? Oh, Shannon, okay.
She'll hoard the mic, but I'm the one looking at the new gear.
Gear. Okay. So
and then when something hits that I see that sparks my interest, I'm like, oh, that's what I want.
Okay.
But like in the beginning, we had the DX10 at home as the base station, and she got hooked on hunting POTA. And then she's like, oh, we got to get out there, activate. We got to get out there and activate. And then she spotted a used 891 being sold, and she's like,
that was
is this a good deal? Is this a good deal? And I'm thinking to myself, all right, if it's my idea, she's going to blame me. So, well, it's a good deal. We really shouldn't be spending the money. But if you think we should get it, we should get it.
Smart man, Sean. Very smart
man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So over to Amy and Doug. Which one of you guys is the radio hoarder, lover, technology and stuff?
I'd say more you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are you the one always recommending the, hey, we should get this, or is it just Amy comes to you and says the same thing? Like,
Amy doesn't really say too much about it.
No.
Okay.
He says, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Sound good to me, man. No problem. Yep. Okay. All right. Another question. Obviously, anniversaries, radio or flowers, obviously for the ladies.
If it's like the gun, it's seasonal. So we're going to have some radios coming in here.
Okay. Cool. Amy, radios or flowers anniversary?
I don't know.
Okay, Doug, which one have you gotten her in the past? Okay. All right. So next year is the radio anniversary. You know it is. Whatever year it is, it's always the radio anniversary. So just keep that in mind.
You just pick something you can use.
Exactly. Cool. All right. So when you guys go out and activate, I'm just curious, kind of like, are you on your average setups, when you're setting up the park, you guys, usually plan for a couple hours to go out and do activations? Or are you just like, hey, we're just going to do a quick activation? Do you find it just varies all the time when you guys decide to get together, or?
Shannon's never quick. Shannon takes all day long.
I won't. If I go, I don't want to do a quick activation. I feel like we took that time and energy to drive here, put the equipment up, and set the radio. I want to be there and get as much out of the day as I can. So 10 or 12 contacts and somebody's ready to go. I'm like, no, just leave me here. I'll stay. I want the longer adventure throughout the day.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice on Saturdays and stuff when your wife comes out and she's like, all right, where are we going today?
Nice. Okay. So you definitely.
So Shannon, I want you to meet my wife and start hanging out with her on FaceTime or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you can convince her, because she's like, nope. I'm like, yeah, you want to go with me to do ham radio? She's like, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Well, that was one of the things I always want to try to find something that we could both enjoy and do together. And we have done many different things over the last couple of years trying to, find something that we both like. And lo and behold, something I never thought I would get into is one of the things that I enjoy the most. I get more joy out of this and time that we get to spend together, but we both enjoy it. So I hear that a lot on the radio from men will be, some of the folks are calling in, I wish you'd talk to my wife. I really enjoy hearing you both out there. I wish you talk to, so-and-so. I'm like, well, just hook them up with me and we'll talk.
Yeah.
The YLs need to form the support group, in general, because like we hear the same thing from the POTA Power couple, Julie and Vaughn over there. They the same way. They she's like, I just wanted to go to the parks to enjoy the park nature. And then he started doing this radio thing. And I was like, all right, sure, I'll do it. And so, just kind of took off from there. It sounds similar to the same, experience. Like, hey, just enjoy doing it and having fun.
Well, I get the comments I'm like, oh my God, I just worked Australia. And she's like, well, I could just pick up the phone and call Australia. I'm like, really? Do you know anyone in Australia? Go for it. I say, because I actually met someone today from Australia.
And I know his first name.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's all good. She's very supportive of what I do. She's supportive of the podcast and stuff. But I do sometimes get a little jealous when I see couples going out there and doing stuff. I think that would be awesome. But who knows? Maybe in our old age, before we retire, we want to get a camper or one of those, like, what do they call them? The Sprinter vans, and just go cross country. And I'm going to go activate parks, and hopefully maybe she'll just be so bored. She'll just have to sit down and join me. And maybe that'll get her into it.
Show you how to do it the right way.
Yeah. I'll have her call CQ.
One thing that might work, if you tell her she probably couldn't pass the test, they love to prove you wrong.
Oh, that's a good idea.
There you go, Todd.
Yeah. I bet you couldn't pass the test. And she did online. She just got her college degree. She did it online through Southern New Hampshire University. And she was like, she got everything 100. Like, she was like adamant. And one time the computer didn't send the form, and she was like, a day, like she sent it on time, but it didn't get to where it was supposed to go, and she thought she was gonna like lose points and break her record. I'm like, you're such a geek. I'm like, it's just get the freaking piece of paper like I did, like you know, everything's got to be perfect. So yeah, I'm afraid to do that because she'll probably get her extra before me.
Hopefully not, dude. Man,
don't put it past her. She probably would.
we might have to if you don't get your extra soon.
Yeah,
just as an incentive.
Yeah,
cool.
I think the thing that kind of hooked Shannon was when she started hunting and sat there on the porch and started reaching all these. We got to get an HF radio. I know. I'm waiting on a check. I know the exact radio I want.
Very cool. Yeah, that is always the challenge there, and so especially setting up like your home station versus your POTA station. I'm sure it's two different things and two different configurations, and probably very much awesome experience either way. Whether you're at home, I'm sure it's very like Shannon's probably like, do I sit and do work or do I play radio?
Well, I'm home all day anyway, and then Lewis will call me and goes like, so and so is on the radio, and I'm like, I really got to get up out of the recliner to go and turn the radio on.
Well, then you need a flex now. You need to get a flex, and you can do it from your iPad.
Here we go.
And then there's other days where I'll call home at lunch and she'll answer the phone. Hold on one sec. Kilo 1, Lima Yankee. You're 5'9" in November Charlie.
That's funny. Now, do you got
the chicken's burning?
Amy, do you have do you use an 891 too?
We have one, but no, I have the 7300 at home, the base station.
The base station.
Okay. Yeah.
And you take the 891 out to do POTA?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
you will actually fit in the motorcycle saddlebag.
Oh, nice.
And now, have you guys ever done mobile on the HF mobile on the motorcycle at all or anything?
We just
I asked. We have Rob N1NUG out of Connecticut, a good friend of ours. He does actually HF mobile on his touring bike, and so he's done a couple of videos on it. So pretty cool. I don't think I can handle both at the same time. But hey, he does it pretty well. So
yeah, there's a guy in Flag and Torch that. He's got an 891 in the saddlebag of his touring bike, and he's got the ATAS on a luggage rack, in the back seat. And it works. It works. He gets to just go and do a little off roading on his motorcycle and just activate right there.
That's awesome.
Something to consider, Doug.
Now, do you guys like to just only do sideband when you're out activating POTA? You guys do any digital or anything? I mean, obviously you're working on CW, but no digital.
No digital yet, but I know that he was working on making sure stuff was configured for the 891 maybe the 891, right? Where you're talking about getting configured. But if we go out activating, I'm not going to go and sit there and while he's doing CW, I want my own radio set up and, so I can be going. I've got to be productive.
That's why I'm hoping that by the time I get the CW down, maybe I can have a QRP radio and some passband filters, and we can be working side by side. I'll be doing CW. She can be doing sideband or whatever if she wants to
get
do
yourself
CW.
a nice triplexer and then run off the same antenna, and good deal. Yeah. Nice. Oh man,
it's the goal.
Those that do ham radio couples stay together.
I had to ask. So Lewis is always. He's always buying stuff, always looking on DX, the DX website and all these other things. And I told him, I said, I wonder how many couples actually get divorced because of ham radio. Because I can imagine it. That's all we got to do is spin. Whew.
Now, is he married?
He is not.
Oh, he's not.
So
okay.
then he's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. Yeah.
So if he gets married and she becomes a ham, does she get to be able to join? Would that be an okay thing for the club?
It would have to be, yeah.
Right.
Because if she can keep up with his buying habits, would be all right.
Well, maybe he needs to marry someone with some money in her account to support his hobby.
Yeah.
And that would help you guys out.
It might even come down to the club making the decision who gets to marry. So it's sort of like,
no, we don't approve.
she doesn't have her extra.
Yeah, they got to be ham to get in there.
That's
cool.
Awesome.
So I got a question. So I kind of wanted to, kind of spin this back to the club side of things and kind of, bring it back to that a little bit. So if you guys obviously started your club and you got things going, if someone was listening to this show right now and they're like, hey, I really have the same desire to want to just get out and do it, any bit of advice you could kind of give them to, kind of just get out there, or, how you guys kind of put your, things in motion, you could share with somebody?
Keep it fun. I mean, one thing I did is I sent a message out to the Black Swamp group and asked them for suggestions, things to avoid and stuff. And they sent a nice thing back, and they're like, just kind of do your own thing. Don't let other people discourage you. They try and down it and everything else. And keep constantly trying to work on goals, work on things together as a club. And, so I think that's one of the reasons why we don't mind starting small with just a few people, kind of figure out how things are going as we go, so we don't flub them up along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, when people reach out and ask questions about, I had one lady that's joined the Facebook group, actually several that have joined the Facebook group, as long as we can encourage them or answer questions that are hurdles that we've been through thus far, and that, like you said, Black Swamp, we reached out to them. Other clubs are supporting each other. Especially if we get out doing an activation, and I'll use Black Swamp as an example. They get out, they'll hunt us as much as they can. They also help promote us on Facebook, or we're hunting them, they're hunting us, just different things where the clubs like that are starting up are supporting other clubs and not trying to take away from. So
it's kind of like you YouTubers, all the channels kind of help promote each other.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think the only one thing missing for like clubs like yourself is that unless you have like an established presence somewhere else and you're not an affiliated ARL club, you kind of get lost per se in the shuffle. I know, like trying to, like as Paul said, the Book of Faces. I'm not on Facebook either, so it's in essence trying to find you guys was a little challenging. And I'm sure you're probably in the same boat as some like all the Black Swamp guys. I think have a website and stuff like that. But it's definitely a challenge because obviously you don't want to go too far into the business world to establish yourself, but you want to be able to at least have people find you. And as you probably have learned, and it sounds like it's definitely happening for you. So word of mouth seems to be the place where it's at, right? Like people are latching onto it because they're seeing stuff happen.
Well, and that's another thing that I covered with the last group as PIO there, getting acknowledgement of our club recognition. I reached out to local representatives, got us recognized with proclamations that, I'll put in the local paper or put it on social media and thank those individuals and those folks. I did it last year for the other club. I already have 4 out of the 5 that I've requested from our state officials and local officials, so they discuss it amongst others, and then, it'll go out that way. And like I said, local paper will put stuff out, I'll write an article and put it in the paper or something like that.
It's actually good suggestions there for sure, especially if you're just trying to get the word out there. And obviously you don't have to use the big behemoth ARL to get yourself promoted, because to put it this way, in my opinion, ARL clubs, affiliate clubs, are no better than clubs that aren't affiliated. In fact, I find a lot of the clubs that aren't affiliated were a hell of a lot better than a lot of them that are. So is
our club affiliated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we are.
Yep. Which doesn't really mean a whole lot in the world of ARL.
Actually, I didn't even know.
Sending them money. Yeah.
I'm like, well.
It used to mean something about 25, 30 years ago when, that was the only way you could get recognized by, anybody in general as a club in the local area. But, today that doesn't, slice it anymore. And 9 times out of 10, it's just bureaucracy that gets in the way of, having fun. And so you guys definitely have got that down, and that's awesome to see. And it just warms my heart to see that you guys are just out there doing the stuff that we love to do here.
I know. I can't. I'm going to be looking for you guys when I'm out there.
You don't have him on Ham Alert yet? I had him on Ham Alert.
You're going on Ham Alert, so I'll definitely. That's definitely going to be a goal.
I'm working on our stickers and our logo stuff. Doug was helping me with it. We're hopefully get some of those printed and some of the other goodies that I'm thinking in the back of my mind that we'd like to get. So we'll send you some of those.
Even if you need us to slip us some money, let us know. We will happily buy a bunch of them because, dude, we love, the official overalls. We love the whole logo. You guys just have like it down. It's like, dude, I would wear, like, that's the first thing Paul says, like, dude, where do I get those overalls? That, like, he's like, I'll pay for them. I don't care. Like, I just want to be part of that club because that's how cool it was.
Well, I'm trying to get a patch for us to be able to put on the back, big enough on the back of our overalls that'll have the round one that I sent you with the old man with the rifle and the moonshine jug.
Foghorn, Langhorn, or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured summertime I'll turn the overalls into cutoff shorts and wear the work boots.
6 to 8 inches lower of the crotch, not like, we don't want Daisy Dukes. No Daisy Dukes. That's all.
No. We don't want the.
Oh, Sean, no.
His own story.
Yeah, true. Very true. I totally forgot about that. Yes, the 1970s, his own story.
So what is Luis's call sign?
Lewis is Kilo Uniform 4 Golf Zulu.
Kilo Uniform 4 Golf Zulu. And it's Lewis. Got it.
Lewis.
Is he 4 or 5?
4.
Okay.
So, Shannon, how come you're a 1?
I announced it earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why is your call sign a 1?
Well, this is my third vanity call. And when I was calling out my original, I was always having a hard time of getting people to understand my call sign, which was Whiskey Bravo for Lima Charlie. And I just kept going. I was like, I love the call sign, but I'm not getting out without having to. Actually, my Elmer told me I needed something smaller. So I went and looked, and the only thing that was available with a shorter call was the Kilo 1 Lima Yankee. And I was like, okay, this is great. So as soon as I get this, everybody starts calling me Killy. So, but with the 1 call sign, it throws them off. And I said, well, that's all right. He's from up north and I'm down south. We just kind of blended there with our regions.
Yeah, they must hear your accent and be like, there's no way.
I don't have an accent.
Yeah.
I'm listen, duped.
my wife is from Somerville, which is like right next to Boston, and her accent is was so bad that my youngest son needed to go to speech therapy because he couldn't say R. Like, no, I'm not joking. So she's like, and I don't hear it anymore, but like when people from other places here, they're like, wow, she's got a thick accent. I'm like, she does? But when I first started dating her, I used to hear, I'm like, wow, she's got some thick Boston roots.
Southie.
It's like, I'll say garlic and she'll be like, it's garlic. And I'm like, no. Listen, I talk to the Italians in the North End. It's garlic.
Yeah.
It's Harvard Yard. You can't go anywhere without the Harvard at the harbor.
Yeah.
And they always have to pick on me because I say things with the slang that I've always done. But one of the words that one of the guys from New York that moved down, he had a fit when he heard me say it the first time, is runt. RUNRT. It's ruined, but it's runt. And
what?
They just
say that again. It's ruined? It's ruined, but it's runt?
Runt. RURNT. Runt.
Runt.
Runt. Oh my God.
First time I heard that, I was like, what? She said it again. I was like, what? I'm like, do you mean ruined? She's like, shut up.
See, all I have to say is anybody from down south, I've learned the one thing. If you ever hear bless your heart after that, just stop the conversation because they basically, they're flipping you the bird next or they're going to clock you. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
Well, I've noticed when I've been down in North Carolina that there's a lot of people coming down from New England, moving down to North Carolina. It's almost like I met when we were down. Every year on my wife's family, we get together and we go someplace different and we meet up with the family. So we were down in Florida, and last year we were in North Carolina, and I met like a ton of people just for the week we were there that were, had moved down there permanently, but they were all from like Mass, Connecticut. One guy was from Vermont, and they've all kind of like relocated. So it's kind of like New England's like moving down south to get away from the weather and just enjoy some of the nicer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot. It used to be an influx of Floridians here, and now it's become a lot of the New Jersey, New York, those type of folks. Just in our little area here, I used to aggravate him before he moved down here. I said, we're so rural. It's 2 hours to get anywhere to civil. I used to say 2 hours from civilization. It was 2 hours to anywhere outside of our area where you could shop or eat something decent. And our little town has grown from like 14,000 up to almost 31,000 in less than 5 years.
Wow.
So it's just like boom. And a lot of that's because the casino moved in, created a second location here. So we've got a casino.
And coming down here too, she was telling me, "Oh, it's a real small town. I don't know if you'd like it." I get down here, I see Lowe's and Walmart. I'm like,
real small.
You ought to see Gilmanton when my folks, but it's not a traffic light.
They have traffic circles in Gilmanton.
Yeah.
Do you know what those are?
Unfortunately, now we do, because they're putting a roundabout back in the center of our town, which we had two before, and they decided to take them now for a reason. Now we got another one.
Roundabouts are in England. We have traffic circles here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I know in Mass they used to call them rotaries a lot.
Rotaries, yes.
Rotary.
Or the bubbler.
Yeah.
Right. People are like, what? Like if they're not from New England, like, what'd you just say?
Exactly. Get your hoagie.
Yeah.
Cool. So, any of you guys got any more questions? I got a couple of the wrap things up here a little bit, but you get Todd, Paul.
No.
Nope. Good. Okay. All right. Well, so I got one big one. So, obviously, we appreciate you guys sharing everything about the Hillbilly Ham Club. It's totally awesome to see where you guys are at, and so I'm totally psyched. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we might be honorary members. You never know. Just slide in there.
I'll make the motion now. We got 4 of the 5.
Okay. Very cool. That's all we need, right? Unanimous vote.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what's in store for you guys for 2025? What things are you guys got kind of planned, or you want to get kind of going? And are you see any new members on the horizon? Obviously outside of us, but
Well, I think that a lot of us are we're working on getting the name out there, getting all of our logistics and stuff set up. I mean, we've got the Facebook page. I want to start a regular page, eventually, but it's time consuming, and all of them work except for Lewis and I. So it's back between him and I doing a lot of the other stuff while they're actually out working. But I see that we're going to be doing some events coming up that we'll just get out and promote ham radio. Doing a lot of our own just club activations. We try to go as much as we can. Sean and I go every weekend, at least both Saturday and Sunday if we can, and drag those two along, Amy and Doug and Lewis. Like I said, and if it's cold weather and we're all having to pile into a vehicle, then, obviously that's difficult. But I don't know. Anything else you got on your mind?
We want to try and get some maybe some texts from the area and get them out and kind of see the fun side of the party, the ham radio, see the POTA, and, just kind of I think a lot of people kind of, they might get their technician and get an HT and then kind of put it on the back burner because that's all they. So it's like you try and show them maybe a little of the contesting and, some of the fun activities and some of the camaraderie.
Yep. Yeah. That's the good part about ham radio. And And you'll never, ever run dry of any ham radio operators ever going, hey, I've got this over here, or this is my antenna, or, this is my setup.
I always said that, like, if everyone was a ham radio operator, I said there'd be peace on earth, because everyone I've met in any country or whatever, everyone's good and just glad they made a contact and everything. But, I actually, before the Ukraine war started, I was on a QSO with someone from Russia and Ukraine and me. And we were just talking about, like, because it was about to happen, and they were like, it's just silly. It's like you attacking Canada. Like, they're our cousins, our brothers. We marry each other. And, it was just kind of, it made me think about, everyone I've ever talked to on ham radio. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, because I have had some people kind of be rude and not okay. But most of the people, anyone on POTA, I can say, has always been super friendly, just awesome. Like, thanks for making the contact. I appreciate you being out there. Good luck to you, that kind of stuff. And, it's just a good feeling. And it feels like you even though you've never met them in person, you got a connection with them. And, you hope to work them again. And if you do, it's kind of cool. Like, hey, I worked you last year. Mm-hmm. So.
And we'll get lots of times when we do an activation, we'll kind of try and put it out on Facebook, and we'll get people commenting back that we got in the logs and stuff. And it's kind of nice to see all the repeat people you get over and over. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I worked my first Europe contact. I worked a guy in Lithuania. It was my first contact, overseas, outside the United States. I was all excited. And then, like, literally the next day, I worked him again. He goes, oh, my New Hampshire friend. So I was, like, all excited. I'm like, this is awesome. This guy remembered me. This definitely helps my geography, because I'll get a country and I'm like, wait a minute, let me find that on the map. Yeah. Slovenia.
Yeah. Isn't that what grid tracker's for?
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. Like, I get on, I'm like, where is this? And I'll go on, like, I'll look it up on, like, Google Maps or something and say, oh, or I'll look up his call sign and go to the map thing and say, oh, that's where he is. And lots of times before I send out a QRZ card, I'll QSO card, I'll look them up on QRZ and read their profile a little bit. And it's kind of neat to learn a little bit about them. Yeah. Maybe try to write something to do with it. Have you guys ever worked like a maritime mobile? So I worked a guy on he was from, what was he from? Tobago Island or something. But he was on a merchant marine ship. He was off North Carolina, off the coast he said he was about 200 miles off the coast of North Carolina, and he was working it, but he was doing it before his shift. So he's like, I gotta go. I go, shift time starting. And he had to, leave and go. But I looked him up. I'm like, what? Oh, he was on the boat. That makes sense. So yeah, he was traveling. So I thought that was kind of cool. And we have W1SNH Ryan, who is part of Live Free and Ham, who started with us in the beginning and does stuff on the side. He's a pilot. So he's worked us. He's worked me a few times. I know he's worked Eric. I'm not sure if he's worked Paul, but he'll be flying. And Eric and I did a rove, and we were on the beach and started out, and we worked him on 10 meters, and he was over Sweden at like 45,000 feet, cruising about 750 miles an hour, talking to us. Oh, wow. And and that was another time he texted me. He says, hey, I'm on this frequency, and I get on it, and he told me he was like over Iceland. So I went on that airplane app where you can check to see where all the planes are. I found them, and I took a screenshot and sent it to him. Like, I think I found you. And he's like, yep, that's me. So that's kind of cool. Like, when you get some guys like, working airplanes or, on a boat somewhere, in the middle of the Atlantic, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. We do our little happy dance if we're like doing a POTA, and then we get somebody like Indonesia this past weekend, which was new for us. And it's like, yeah, that was over 10,000 miles away, Yeah.
You guys got to set up a camera and just kind of show your activation and just record it and then post it. Because I'm telling you, if you guys, the way you're describing it, it would be well worth watching. It'd be so much fun. Like how to do fun, how to do POTA the Hillbilly way.
Yeah.
Some of the things that happens, I mean,
we've had chickens come up and surround our car at one of the lakes. I took pictures of it. We were sitting there, and I kept looking out of the corner of my eye. I kept seeing something move, and I was like, what is that? And I looked out, and by the picnic table, here comes 3 roosters off of one side, and then 2 more off the other, and they're in the car. And I'm like, only us. We have chickens at the lakeside where there were no houses anywhere. I don't know how they
in miles.
Yeah.
Well, Eric and I, we did a POTA activation during the solar eclipse, which I don't know if you guys had it down there or not, but Paul was up north to like the full solar eclipse. We were like, what, 3/4 or pretty close. But we get there and everything's good and we're working, and it was weird to see how the bands would just like all of a sudden just disappear and then come back up. Well, the thing that happened to us is, when was that? Like it was like April or something last year?
It was April 8th last year.
April 8th. And then all of a sudden, when the solar eclipse went by and it started coming back, the mosquitoes were like out of control attacking us because it almost got dark. And we were normally like, we'll bring the mosquito like thing to keep the bugs away. And we didn't think anything of it. And we were like, what the hell? Like slapping them. They're like, oh, dude, you got like 5 on your neck. So we were like attacked by the mosquitoes. That was pretty interesting.
He was making fun of me. We were at one, it was a twofer, and we were sitting there outside. We just ate lunch, and I said, we were at a lake, and I said, there's going to be a bear come up just sure as the world. There's scat around us on the ground. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting here smacking stuff left and right. I know that I had to identify at least 30 different species of spiders that I'd never seen before in my life. And I'm not a spider
all done. Check out. Sorry.
So I'm sitting here going, I'm going to scream with one of these on me, just sure as the world. By the time I start calling, I'm sitting here doing this and slacking, and I'm like, we need to go.
Someone calls 911.
That's the thing you'll end up getting on a video, I'm sure of me. Is that or a snake will come up at the table with us or something. It's going to be one of those things.
Oh, that's funny.
Cool.
So I had to check my logs. All right. So I've gotten Sean and Shannon with my current call sign, but Amy and Doug, I got you guys with my old call sign. So we gotta make a new contact so that I get you under N10G and not KF4TPY.
Although you'll never make a contact with KF4TPY ever again, so that's a little bit more higher value. Make me look it up.
Yeah, I looked it up. I didn't have any of you guys.
No.
I've worked you like 5 times. It's like Shannon 5 times, and I probably could Sean the same way, and I'm sure even the club call a couple times too. Oh yeah, crazy. You're becoming very much like my one guy that I keep getting every time Bruce. Thank you. I gotta screw up his call again. It is
IPL is the suffix. Yeah, because he got me Friday too.
It's India Papa Charlie. So it's
okay.
Yeah, all right. Let me if I find them. He is one that hunts me all the time. K9 India Papa Charlie. That's it is. Bruce. I always refer to him as Bruce. So never done. So you're gonna be Shannon.
I get quite a few things. I get called. They've now started noticing the jabberjaw. So I've had that for the last couple of weeks.
Now that I got that, that's the way it's gonna be. I can put you jabberjaws in the log, and I'm never gonna get credit for it because it'd be like, what's jabberjaw?
Yeah.
We could make T-shirts. I worked Jabberjaw on 20 meters.
I feel like I'm doing, it's I'm screwing movies up today. I'm thinking the one Alice in Wonderland with the Jabberwocky. It's a short version. Cool.
And, so correction on Bruce. So it's Kilo 9 India Charlie Papa.
Yeah, India Charlie Papa. Yep. Bruce is a good guy. Work him often. So awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. It was such a blast to have you on, and I appreciate you sharing your club, the Hillbilly Ham Radio Club, with all of our listeners tonight, because it's a perfect example of exactly what we're trying to convey to everybody. It's like, just get out and play play radio, get involved, meet other people like-minded, and just start doing some fun stuff in the hobby and see where it goes. It doesn't have to be this crazy big giant club. It can be like 5-6 people that just hang out on the weekends and do some really cool stuff and play ham radio, because that's really, what we try to strive here on Live Free and Ham is like, stop talking about it. Just go out and do it. That's really what it is.
If you meet someone, just kind of invite them right along. Come on with us. Come with us on activation.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how, we've shared those stories with Todd, and that's how I dragged Todd into POTA. And then Paul shortly went from serial FT8 user to sideband guys, because, we did POTA. So, I love it. I drag my family members out as much as I can when I go out, and, these guys, do the same thing. So it's awesome to see you guys doing this stuff. And I thank you, Amy and Doug and Shannon and Sean, for all coming on tonight. It was a blast to have you guys. And just one little tidbit, because I'm a Gen X person, get off Facebook, go build a Discord, make a Discord, just make a Discord. And
that's something else we have to put up with.
You will have a much easier time doing a Discord, because people, it's like kind of the new Facebook, but it's not all the garbage of Facebook. And a lot of people that, might be in, the generation or the groups that you're trying to look for that are the excited ones that want to do stuff, don't go to, like, I when I was on Facebook, I unsubscribed from the POTA group because it was a freaking dumpster fire of every time. It's like someone would post something and be like, why'd you go activate that place? You don't do that. It's like, stop, being a lid. And
that'll never work.
Exactly right. Yeah, that antenna doesn't have the right resistance, and it's a RF field is blah blah. I'm like, shut up. I just put a wire up there and I'm playing and having fun and made 20 contacts. That's golden in my book. So yeah. Cool.
I'll have to look for somebody to teach me Discord. That's the next one.
Well,
my girlfriends are trying to make me do what is it? Twitter, not Twitter. What's the X?
X. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
yep.
No.
Well, if you ever need help with Discord, feel free to ping any one of us. I set up our Discord.
Don't ping me. I'm still learning.
Well, yeah. Or, Paul or I would love to help you out, get you guys going, and, definitely help you guys promote. And so we'll definitely, once you get all your, logos and everything up there, I'm sure people will want to jump on board and grab it just for their own, stickers for their laptops. And, everybody in the ham radio community loves stickers. So, when that comes out, let us know. We'll put a link in the Discord. You can, get people to grab those, because I think that's a really cool sticker and definitely an awesome club.
I got yours right there on the POTA laptop.
Sweet.
Oh, look at that.
Very cool. I was going to say, wait, that's KB9 VBR sticker. That's not mine.
Walk under the GX
Yeah, it's
you got center though, Eric. You're
got almost center. Yeah, I'm infamous, as they say, right?
Well, we appreciate you having us and inviting us on. So thank you very much.
And thanks for coming on. This was a fun show. Great to meet you guys.
Hopefully somebody learned that, hey, you don't have to wait around anytime soon. Just get out there, make your own club. It doesn't even have to be an official club. Just get a bunch of people together and go have a POTA and have fun, and then see where it goes from there. You don't always have to have an official assembly, but, it's always cool to have a club call sign. I know I'd love to work those. So cool. All right, well, let's wrap.
We left up with ours.
Yeah. Well, if we ever get ours back, it'll be W1LFH. L. Yeah, you always screwed up. Damn it. Live Free and Ham is basically what it should be. But yeah, whatever. When I had it for when I had it for through one whole entire week, you think I'd get it right? No. Just like N1, dang it, W1, whatever. So anyway, all good. All right, well, let's wrap this up here. So, as always, thank you again for joining Live Free and Ham podcast. We enjoy everybody who's part of the community, and thank you guys for supporting us. And as we always say, we can't thank you guys enough. So, as always, if you want to connect with us, you can always head over to our Discord and join there in the conversation. We always post this in the show notes. So we'd love to have you guys give some feedback. Hey, if you've got a club or you have an idea you're starting one, let us know in the Discord, and we'll be glad to promote you guys and maybe have you on in the future just to kind of get you guys going. And, you know, just like we had these guys on from the Hillbilly Club, you know, we just want to hear your story, see what you got going on, and give you guys the support you need. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch all of our awesome content there, and make sure you ring that bell. Otherwise, you ain't going to hear from us. And make sure you always leave us a review on our SMS link. You know, you can do it. That link is in our show notes. And now you can leave us a voicemail at 978-233-1142. Anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can always support our show by joining our Patreon, which there are always a bunch of people there helping support, and some great stuff there. Or you can just send us a one-time donation as a buy us a beer. All of it helps the show and keeps the lights on and help us continue to do this fun stuff that we love doing. And finally, head over to livefreeandham.com to learn about the show, any of our hosts, and find all of our stickers and swag and contact info there. And as always, thanks again for listening from all of us at Live Free and Ham, and 7-3.
7-3.